Well, here we are. Thoughts from the office. Redneck's Pride Outdoors. Almost March 1st. Trapping season is done for a lot of folks, and will be done here in New Jersey March 15th, along with our predator calling. Today's one of those days that you can really feel spring. Last week it was 25 degrees high, and this week I think it's 50 to 55 degrees and high. So it's a whole different ball game right now. And winding down, everybody's winding down. And I saw a lot of new trappers really get involved this year. A lot of new trappers really got into snaring, especially because New Jersey, all we can do is snare, beaver trap, conibears under the water, and cage traps and dog proofs. And saw a lot of new trappers this year that got their licenses earlier, and then we had a class here in February. Those folks really seem to be on fire right this second. And one of the statements that's always coming up to me, and I did a post on it earlier on my Facebook page, but I thought I'd talk just a little bit more about it, if you will, is for you new guys, trapping season never ends. Catching ends, but trapping season never ends if you're hooked on it. If you're not hooked on it, then, if you're a hunter or a fisherman or something like that, and you just trap because there's nothing else to do, then it's a whole different ball game. But I'm talking to the folks who's got the bug, and they got the bug bad. Not as bad as me, because I do it 12 months a year. It's my livelihood. It's my occupation. So I'm going to look at it differently than somebody who is just wanting to trap for 2 or 3 weeks or a month or whatever. Okay. So I'm coming at you. I apologize, but I'm coming at you from a professional trapper mindset. And I'm speaking to the 1%, maybe 2%, but the 1% that wants to take trapping beyond an activity. Back in the 70s and the 80s, the month of June, July, and August, they was convention months. And we went to the conventions. The reason we went to the conventions is because you really didn't have mail order back in them days. Back in the 60s you did. Sears and Roebuck's, where they used to sell trapping stuff. I can vaguely remember. You see, I was 10 years old in 1968. That's when I started to try to trap. And I can vaguely remember trapping and hunting stuff in Sears and Roebuck catalog. I remember guns a lot longer than trapping stuff, and I see ads where Sears and Roebucks used to buy fur and what have you. So, in the 70s, when I was really getting into it, early 70s, mid 70s, then when I started driving into the 80s, I got married in 79, and every June or July, wherever, I think it was PA had their convention, then you had Hughesville had a convention, then you had a couple other minor mini conventions around. You went to the conventions, and the reason you went to the conventions was you was buying your products, you was buying your supplies for the upcoming season. Internet sales has kind of changed things a lot, and I do internet sales. I sold more cable restraints this year than I have, and I've been making cable restraints a long time. But I tell you what, and I'm thankful for everybody who's doing it. I got behind, and I apologize for that, but I didn't even trap this year. I think I caught a few fox and a coyote, and that's it. Didn't have time to trap with the wildlife control and the ADC work and making stuff, I didn't get a chance to trap. I guess that's why Lee Steinmeier, he makes a really good fleshing knife if you're looking for one. Mine, it's an English style. It was made by him, I believe, and that's probably 45 years old. Still going strong. But anyway, getting back on my rabbit trail here. We used to go to the conventions because that's how you got your equipment. We didn't order it in the season. And one of the problems with ordering in the season is your suppliers are running out of products. You know, by January, I'm running out of baits and lures. I hate this stupid thing. I'm in the woods. Why do I got to put this stupid seatbelt on? You know, I run out of. I'm usually at quarter of my supply by the time January rolls around. I'm pretty low on baits and lures and what have you. We're getting getting things rolling again. So you know, you knew that you got to the conventions and you bought your supplies for the upcoming season. That's probably something that you newer guys should think about. We've gotten so used to Amazon and all that it's probably smarter to get all your stuff early. June, July, August. Getting ready for that season coming up. That way when September rolled around, all right, you was getting in the woods again, the fields and all that, lining up properties that you didn't know about. And in September was learning the properties that you don't know, you just picked up, you got to figure them out. Going back over the properties that you know, that you've been trapping for years, and you got to just make sure everything's looking good on that. And getting everything set up and ready to go so that when your opening day hits, you're rolling, man. You're ready to go. October is the month that you're setting up everything, especially for cable restraints and snares. You're setting everything up. If you got the regulations where you can't have entanglement, you got to cut all that stuff out from around you, then you've really got to use the month of September, depending on when your season starts, to get in there and you're essentially without trapping, you're trapping. Okay, with New Jersey, I don't need I can use entanglement, so I'm going out and I'm just getting things set up and figured out and getting it again. So when my day opens, I'm hitting it running if I can trap. Okay. October, you're getting the itch, the cool mornings. You're out there and you're really putting your effort into trying to figure out what you're going to how you're going to trap, where you're going to trap, and what you're going to do. And again, essentially, you're trapping without catching. You're getting everything ready to go. You're in the field, understanding what you got to do, understanding where you got to be. I missed my doggone woods road turn. Son of a gun. But you're getting everything ready to go, in other words. Our season opens November 15th, so by November 1st, I better be ready. If I'm going to trap, I better be ready. I better have all my spots ready. I better have all my draw stations out. I better have all that stuff going. And then once the trapping season starts, we're rolling. Okay? I don't want to be spending time in the trapping season looking for new ground. I want to have everything ready and rolling and going. That's what I used to do when I was a hard roller. That's what I used to do. Okay? Now, here we're at the end of the season. And my season ends in roughly, little about 20 days. I got about 3 weeks left of my season, and I'm running. I'm not trapping hardly at all. Anyway, I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4, 5, 6 sets out. That's all. And for fur trapping, that is. Wildlife control, it's like I'm going all day. But for fur trapping, it's I think I got 6 sets out. 2 of them are experiment sets, if you will. So when the season ends here March 15th, I'll probably not do anything for a week or so. But then I'm right back into it again. Because from March to the middle of April, that's where you get out there and you prep your line again. You figure out where the productive spots was. You're doing everything again for next year. All right. And then, April turkey season rolls in. So I'm not doing as much like I used to, but turkey season, we're hunting in April, May, and June, or the beginning of June there. Not even the beginning, it ends the first part of June. So I'm turkey hunting and I'm trout fishing and I'm giving trapping instructions to folks. All right. And in June, we're right back into it again. I'm finding where the coon are running. I'm finding where the fox and the coyotes are living condensed, if you will. That's where the pups are at, and what that gives you the core area for your fox and your coyotes. That gives you the core area of where that pair is going to stay most of the time, and their territory is going to expand out from that core area here in the Northeast. You get out west, who knows in that vast ground and how many coyotes they got. They got more coyotes than you can shake a stick at, But anyway, when you're here in the Northeast, your coyotes and your foxes are going to be in that isolated little core, and they're easier to find. And then you can set up your draw stations by July, August if I'm using groundhogs or I'm using a meat type attractor to start the draw station. I'm going to bury it, and I'm going to bury it in July and August. I'm going to get it down in the ground. Because I want that, because within a few days that turns from a food source to a curiosity, and from a curiosity to the corner bar. And again, you can see it's going over and over and over again. Now, when you've been trapping 10, 15, 20 years, no, you're not going to do all this today, in today's world anyway. Why? Because you've got it all locked in. But the smart guy who is adding new ground and wants to continually get gooder, they are going to do all that stuff. Now, granted, back in the 70s and the 80s and early 90s, the money was the factor. We was making really good money. All right. And it was a job. So we were looking at it differently than you are today, to where you're getting $6 for a raccoon. I just saw sales of $8, $8 for red fox, $10 for eastern coyote. You want to skin them for $10. Mink up a little bit more, but your skunks and your possums are the bigger money makers. So, just giving you brand new trappers, you trappers that's been trapping 2, 3, 4 years at the most, I'm giving you a history lesson, if you will. I'm giving you a little in-depth back look, if you will, on what we used to do in the 70s and the 80s. And I'm saying to you that if you really want to get gooder, then spend your first few years doing that. And that way, when you've got 7, 8, 9, 10 years under your belt, you don't have to do it anymore. You don't have to be as in depth. Again, most of you are not going to look at trapping the way I look at trapping. Most of you are going to look at trapping as however you're looking at it. You're not going to look at it as serious as I do. But if you do want to become a wildlife control guy or an ADC guy, then as a fur trapper, the more you learn as fur trapping, the easier it makes you to transition into ADC or real wildlife control, real wildlife control, which essentially is ADC now. All right, hope you find it interesting. I got a pull card here, camera card. Check a few more spots and put some. It's the end of February, so we're getting our minerals and our deer scent products, our dry attractant out. So I'm putting out my Deer Plus, Deer Stuff 1, which is a mineral, and our Deer Stuff 2 to keep the deer coming, because they're still on bait. They're still wanting to bait, but they're starting to crave the minerals now. So we're getting that out and putting our cameras up and getting ready to go into deer mode and checking things out. I got some really big deer on pictures that I've never showed before, but this year I may just start showing them. I don't know. We'll see. All right, I'll talk to you all later. Redneck's Pride Outdoors, thoughts from the office.